Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 here on HeflaTV HB1. I'm Grandis I'll be joined by Mike Loris for game number 2 of the lower bracket finals. This is a best of 3 between Lajons and Virtus.Pro Polar. That game won. A dominating victory for Virtus.Pro Polar, and just because they fought better, I think a lot of that comes down to the draft and how Lajons ended up playing, which is very unfortunate. Usually those Droneshire lineups work wonders for Lajons.
And I really hope for Lajons that they get themselves together for this game number 2, because no one really wants to see a fast 2-0 in the losers finals. That's just not how it's supposed to go. We want to see a 2-1, if anything at all, and hopefully that's going to be the case for Lajons. They are going to have to pick up some initiation. I think that was their really core problem. They could never start a fight, and every single fight that they had was small pickoffs, and it was mostly IO getting that target out. So Virtus.Pro Polar, they're going to stay the course. Ogre Magi is the first pick, and FNG had a decently lucky Ogre Magi, but he was also very impactful early on.
Yeah, I don't think it was really about the luck at all for FNG. It was just him being in the right place at the right time, really spot-on rotations, especially in the early game. Kind of controlling the pace. Before they had that Stampede online or the Blink Dagger on Slark to start fights, it was always the Ogre Magi there with them. Just running with those really early boots, Ignite into Fire Blast. He set up so many kills.
And he was, of course, helped out by the fact that Lajons in general were more on the fragile end of the spectrum. So maybe if Lajons pick up a little bit more tankiness, i.e. Viper, that's a darn good one, then it'll be a little more difficult for FNG to have as clear of an impact. But Lajons open out with a Witch Doctor Viper. They are going to be extremely difficult to take down. They are also both ranged. I don't know if they want to go down that route again, but it's possible.
It definitely is. I think this game around, it's a lot less likely, but Virtus.Pro Polar are going to be bringing the exact same first two for this game number 2. They have the Slark and Ogre Magi, and I suppose if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out pretty well for them in the last game, and it's going to be slightly different now that they don't get their hands on the IO, but with the Slark and Ogre Magi, you get that Bloodlust synergy, and you'll be able to make short work out of the Witch Doctor pretty much at all stages of the game. Viper's going to be a little bit more difficult, but if you kill off his allies, then suddenly the Viper is not as threatening anymore. The laning stage maybe is where Virtus.Pro Polar have to look towards now, as the lane of Slark IO in the mid lane wasn't the most spectacular. I would say outside of FNG's help, that lane would have done so much worse.
For sure, especially since Vengeful Spirit spent the majority of her early time inside that middle lane. This time we aren't going to see the IO since it is banned out, and it worked well for them outside of the laning stage, but I do tend to agree with you. I'm kind of hoping that they just safe lane farm this Slark and pick up something for the mid, maybe even the Razor for themselves, just to make sure that they're trading even with farm of the Viper.
Yeah, I think that would be worthwhile as a pick. Zeus also, though, getting banned out. Lajons showing a lot of respect after that game number 1. And, well, for Lajons, maybe they want to pick up one of those powerhouse range heroes as well. Maybe a Razor for them, not going to be too terrible. Although it will make their lanes a little bit awkward. Getting the more range power, the better. Your lanes are going to be very safe, but it's going to be the Disruptor, a hero that we've actually been seeing a lot more of, and usually in combination with the Witch Doctor, although has been seen with pretty much every other support hero as well. He's been doing a darn good job in the games that I've seen him in.
Yeah, it's a hero that you're hardly ever sad about having on your side. Disruptor offers some really nice utility, especially against these really elusive heroes, like the Slark, just offering the vision with the Thunderstrike as well as a glimpse to pull him back into the team fights, especially if no BKB is involved, is really nice. And then Static Storm's an absolutely wonderful spell. Virtus.Pro Polar are going to pick up a Visage for themselves. It feels unlikely that they're going to go for a Dro to combo with that, but even with just the Visage and Ogre Magi, it's already a really nice combination to have, just with the vast amount of damage that they have the potential to put out.
They open up with a Fire Blast into a Pounce into a Soul Assumption. Witch Doctor, Disruptor already dead. Storm Spirit, if he doesn't have a ball lining out, then he's also probably just dead. So this is a high amount of burst damage from Virtus.Pro Polar, and it is also going to be enough to kill off a Storm Spirit probably before he could jump out in most cases, especially now that they have the puck on VP.P's side. It's going to be DK Phobos' puck. Been left in the pool a lot longer than we normally see, but that's fine. It's here now. They have a decent amount of tools for the Storm Spirit. Not the most. Maybe they could do for one more, but I would say the Storm Spirit, though it is very nice for Lajons, I believe it's Era's hero, not really sure if he's going to have the best time.
Yeah, the aggressive potential coming up from VP.P is incredibly strong, and if they don't pick up an extra tool in that 5th pick to deal with the Storm Spirit and locking him down, I'd love to see an Orchid on the Slark. After the Blink Dagger, of course. Maybe after the Midas. Who knows how that build actually shakes down, but I think they have plenty of answers for Era's Storm Spirit. Just with the instant silence coming up from the puck, following up with the Fire Blast, they have the damage to back that up.
And it would be near impossible for Storm Spirit to escape that once the puck picks up his Blink Dagger. Of course, Storm Spirit at that time will have Ball Lightning, but there are going to be times when VP.P will be able to get the jump on Storm and just completely annihilate him. And Storm Spirit's going to have good vision to get himself out of that. You won't really be able to get that much help from his allies except for maybe a Paralyzing Cast, Static Storm to slow things down, but that's not really going to be that much. We see Doom and Jakiro being the final bans out. Right now, Lions, they have a decent amount of crowd control on their end. They need a lot to deal with the puck and Slark, but I think they're probably a little bit more well off than VP.P are at dealing with Lions. It's close either way as far as who has better lockdown, who has safer lockdown. But as far as Lions, maybe they're going to want to go for a late game hero right now. Probably, well, actually no, because Era usually plays a Storm Spirit, right? So, okay, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a fun way to go. I don't know. Axe is nice hero to have on your side. With the Witch Doctor backing him up, can be very hard to bring down the early portions of the game. And just having a way to jump into Virtus Pro is going to be really nice utility for them, especially up against Slark inside the Shadow Dance, with that call to keep him in place, to make sure that he's not able to get the escape off.
And also, it's really good at killing off Visage's familiars. If you try to stick them on the Axe, then they're probably not going to last very long. A couple spins, and they really can't do much else because they're just going to be dead. So Lions going to have a little bit more crowd control in that regard, and they are going to play this very aggressively. I expect it to be 8 Mother on Viper, Storm, Era, and Jonas and Van Axe. And I think I have seen them play, if not this exact draft before, something very similar to it. It tends to get, well, it relied on a good start from Jonas and Van. And with an Axe, that's usually pretty reliable, but if Virtus Pro Polar get a favorable matchup versus that Axe, i.e. a dual lane or tri-lane in any capacity, then the start from Lions is going to be really slow.
Especially a dual or tri-lane with the Ogre Magi, Slark, and Visage. That's just so scary to go up against. If he does end up facing up against a tri-lane, this Axe probably going to be falling back in the jungle very early on. Maybe at level 2 or so, if he's able to soak that inside the lane. But even so, it is going to be a pretty slow start for him, I feel. It really depends on how the lanes shake down, though. For Virtus Pro Polar, their last pick could honestly be anything. We saw Slark in the mid-last game. I don't think that's how they're going to lane. It's probably going to be in the tri-lane. But Puck is a very versatile hero. Could be in the off-lane or could be in the mid, depending on how they want to get these matchups lined up.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Dragon Knight right now from Virtus Pro Polar. It's not really going to be for the pushing, it's just the fact that he's just going to be so durable and so difficult for Lions to move around. Axe is almost purely physical, at least the way people usually build Axe nowadays, maxing out the counter helix and call. So having someone with just a massive amount of armor is going to be very nice for them. Already Ogre Magi is going to have that, but that's not really the role that Ogre Magi is going to serve. So someone for that mid lane I would expect to be the pick for Virtus Pro Polar. You could just put Illidan there and be fine as well if they really want to do that. Death Prophet, well, it's another tanky hero, I guess, down the line. For early stages, she is also pretty decent at Axe, just being able to poke at him with a couple of high damage abilities.
Yeah, and as far as lane matchups up against Viper, Death Prophet can still get a decent amount with the Crypt Storm, if that is how these lanes work out. Lions, I think they tend to run the Storm Spirit in the safe lane on Era, and I think that's how we're going to see it lane this game. That said, we can introduce our sides. Currently, Lions on the dire side of the map, fighting for their tournament lives. It's going to be 8 Mother playing on that Viper, Steel Kid on the Witch Doctor, Anskin on the Disruptor, leaving Jonas and Fan on the Axe, and Era to play the Storm.
And for Virtus Pro Polar, FNG is going to be playing the Ogre Magi once again, this time starting out with boots first, so he's not going to gamble on getting first blood. He's going to be joined by DK Phobos on the puck. Lil's going to be going towards the bottom lane as the Visage for now, and he's going to be joined by Illidan Slark once again. Mag is going to be handling the mid lane as the Death Prophet. So VP Polar shuffling up their lane player assignments just a little bit. But with the boots first and Ogre Magi, that means that the Ogre is going to be playing this a very nomadic way, and we saw last game how effective that was. This time, taking no chances, he's going to be able to get some serious work going on the Lion side of the map.
Yeah, whether he's actually able to get a kill in this top lane is still yet to be seen. I think that relies almost exclusively on what this rune is up top. If it's something nice and he can isolate the Witch Doctor with like a DD on himself or with a haste, the Witch Doctor or Disruptor are completely hosed. They might be able to get off a glimpse or paralyzing cast to delay that, but FNG might just be able to bash them down. Storm Spirit probably shouldn't die, but can't really count it off of the table entirely.
Unfortunately, for Lions, they're facing up against a non-nerfed, non-changed rune system, so they're going to move out as 2 heroes, just having the numerical advantage. Actually, there's 3 hero era also there, so FNG is just going to be able to spot out what's going on, and it would have been a haste rune. Poor FNG would have loved to have that one. Instead, Steel Kid's going to grab that and guarantee that DK Phobos is going to get shut down a little bit in this lane, unless, no, they're going to go smoke up very early on. Disruptor, Witch Doctor, generally not the heroes that you would expect to be roaming from level 1.
With the Viper in the lane, maybe, just maybe, they can look for the kill. The banner rune's already been snagged, and they're going to go all around the world, potentially looking towards bottom even. They have Paralyzing Cask first on the Witch Doctor. Hanskin has yet to level something up. Whether he wants Thunderstrike for the extra damage or the Glimpse to help secure the kill is still yet to be seen. Lil being pursued. Paralyzing Cask bounces through, and he did not expect this. My goodness. 0 base armor. Those spins hurt.
And really, you will never be able to expect that. Josephan, I said before, usually gets off to a pretty good start, and normally up against this dual now tri-lane, you'd expect Axe not to have the greatest of times, but there are 2 melee heroes here, and Josephan's more than comfortable to charge in, especially when he has backup incoming in the form of a hasted hero. Any hero hasted would have been great there, and it clearly was. So first blood this time being drawn by the Lions very early on as well, and well, after that, the lane state, it looks like it's going to be in general, okay for Lions. 8 Mother over in the mid lane is going to have a good matchup versus Mag, or a decent matchup versus Mag, and here up towards top versus DK Phobos should also be relatively even. With the bottom lane power, well, actually, never mind. They're not going to lane the bottom lane, so I guess lanes for VP Polar then.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's still the 2 lanes going in the favor of Lions. It's going to be really nice for him. I think Jones Sunfan could have stayed in that bottom lane for quite a bit longer, but definitely is respecting the potential for Virtus.Pro to kill him off, and after being involved in 1 kill, can't go into the jungle very effectively, although he doesn't have the greatest of creeps to do so. He finds himself a Centaur camp.
That's a little bit unfortunate. Mud Golems are not ideal either, but the Centaurs are definitely the worst for Axe. He was probably not going to get that much and be safe while on the bottom lane, though because the Axe is no longer there, this means Ogre is free to roam around. This means the Visage is free to pull to his heart's content, and that means he's going to have a faster level 6. Also, Josephan is going to have his jungle messed with a little bit by FNG, just absorbing the experience for now, but Ogre Magi at level 2 can put some serious hurt onto an Axe with a couple of hits from the neutrals to help out.
Axe does know something's fishy. FNG was soaking experience for the entirety of that, and Josephan smells something wrong, but doesn't actually find it. FNG is currently tailing him very closely as Josephan is going to go back into the woods. Solo, this Ogre can't really kill off the Axe. Maybe if they bring in some backup. Right now he's looking for the Courier Snipe, won't find that either. Little Monkey's a little too fast.
And that might have been revealing of FNG. I think it was just in the true sight range. But either way, FNG is now going to do his best to fully shut down Josephan. However, it's going to be DK Phobos to get collapsed upon. A-Mother is there, and DK Phobos has an orb out. Ogre Magi, in the meantime, running south. It looks like Lions, they choose to collapse on the wrong hero, and they don't have the right crowd control effects at the right time. In fact, their CC was just not there at all. So it's a clean escape for Virtus.Pro Polar. That could have been really bad. 1, maybe even 2 kills if Lions were in a little bit of a better position.
For sure. Right now things are calming down, and Virtus.Pro Polar are actually doing quite a bit better in this mid lane than I thought they would. Just the Cryptstorm spam with the bottle coming up from Mag is securing her even farm with the Viper, which is quite impressive. And Slark left in a 1v0 lane, expectedly, is doing really well. And Illidan Stormrage, as far as heroes or players to get free farm too, is incredibly scary, and especially when he's playing on something like Slark. This is Illidan's bread and butter zone.
Yeah, this and Naga Siren, apparently Illidan just really favoring those fish heroes. If you get him a fast Midas, and it will be a fast Midas, then you are going to be regretting it down the line. That being said, Lions can still overcome that just by having initiation, this time on their side with the Axe and the Storm Spirit. So it's by no means guaranteed that the Slark is going to have a good time. It's just going to be very dangerous for Lions. The Axe is not really farming well enough to make this all worthwhile, and I guess DK Phobos is kind of being zoned out, but he knows that until Ira gets his level 6, he's going to be perfectly fine to survive everything. He's probably going to take some damage, but he won't die.
Yeah, as long as he reserves that Illusory Orb, he should be able to make it out to safety. We do have Illidan reconnecting into this game, so we should be starting back into this momentarily, but there isn't anything immediate that's going to be super aggressive from either side. The killing potential is pretty limited in most of these lanes. Sans rotations, and FNG is currently sitting mid.
Ogre so far been camping the north side of the map, kind of to be expected, and giving the Death Prophet just a little bit of help. Mag doesn't necessarily need it, but any pressure you could apply is going to be fantastic. FNG this time in this game has not really been doing as much as the last, but that's maybe because of the vision here from Lions. They have pretty good tabs on the Ogre Magi at all times, and they're going to crash the 4-minute rune, put him in his kinetic field, or actually just barely miss it. That probably wouldn't have been a kill, but level 2 Disruptor really needs level 3 before he's truly dangerous.
Hanskin is going to secure that haste rune, is actually going to leave it be. I'm not exactly sure who wants to pick this one up. I thought it would be the Viper, but in the end FNG is going to spot it out. Haste immediately popped by Hanskin as he pursues this Ogre, but this isn't really a fight that he can take. He's hardly tickling FNG.
Yeah, and Hanskin with the haste rune, it's fine if you're not fighting in this area where you can't actually hit and then kite back. You have to take a really opened area fight with that if you're going to be coming out ahead, and otherwise FNG is at full HP, was forced to use a Tango, but he's got Tangos to spare, so he's more than okay trading those hits. So right now it's just a little bit of an early game farm fest for both sides. Once Lions get Blink Dagger on Axe and level 6 on Era, then there are opportunities on the map. For VP Polar, they have all the time in the world. They're getting experience on Lil, they're getting a lot of farm on Illidan, and also the Death Prophet is pretty much untouched. So a passive early game start, which is probably not going to last very long, especially with 8 Mother getting Ignited Fire Blasted over towards mid. Not enough damage to kill off this Viper, although it will be very, very close. In fact, he turns around. That might be his death. No, 7 HP he lives. Now Jonas Fan closing in for a call with 2 creeps and Mag. Mag will get now chain stunned by Steel Kid, who will also bounce over to FNG. That's going to be 2 kills for Jonas Fan. All right, Viper playing some pretty convincing bait, and Jonas Fan getting 2 kills out of the blue.
Yeah, whether that was intentional or not, I'm tempted to say that it was calculated, but if the high roll lows were just a little bit different, maybe he would have died. That Tango for sure is saving his life, though. So either way, the Viper is going to survive and secure another 2 kills for this axe, which is wonderful for Jonas Sunfan. Before this, it didn't look like he'd get his Blink Dagger super fast, but at the current rate, he might get it at like 9 to 10 minutes, which is wonderful.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that he's been slowed down so much in this game. Being forced into the jungle is not ideal. Then getting your jungle messed with, also not ideal. But he's farming up a Storm right now, and he's getting a couple kills to boot. So it's going to be pretty nice for Lions to have that just sitting and waiting. Whereas for Virtus.Pro Polar, the mirrored item on DK Phobos is not going to be up for a very long time. In fact, he's going to go for Power Treads first, and he's not even going to have that in a very long time either. So this Puck is not really going to be doing nearly as much as the Axe, and that's usually a safe assumption. It's usually what happens in these games, but Puck is nowhere near being able to contest what Axe can do.
Yeah, honestly not a huge fan of this Power Treads pickup on DK Phobos. Usually you get Power Treads to help secure the mid lane. And honestly, I think just saving up for the Blink or maybe getting a bottle would have been a little bit better for him. Either way, things have slowed down. Storm Spirit now with his level 6, however. Puck now can fall to this top lane if he's not careful. He has the Ogre behind him, but honestly not sure how much FNG is able to do. They do spot out a ward, however, and they'll be able to get that D ward off very safely.
Or do they? Yeah, they do. So they're going to do it, but this might be bait. DK Phobos got to dodge a stun, and he will, but it will bounce down to the Ogre. DK Phobos will silence and then jaunt to the orb, and stunned Hanskin means that FNG is going to be safe for a little while longer, but he gets pulled with the kinetic field as well. FNG is going to get dropped very low, and he will go down. Very easily done there by the Lions, and as promised, level 6 is when they really start to pick up. I don't even know if that was necessary, though. Once the glimpse happened, the Ogre was just dead.
Yeah, not exactly sure if he needed to be standing there in the first place. I'm not sure if that really did anything. Jonas Sunfan is going to be spotted out in the sidelines. They fire blasted the Viper, now turn onto him with Exorcism. A Mother dropping low, will survive throughout all of this. Now Jonas Sunfan wants a piece. He does have the call, but can't find any opening, and there's just not enough creeps. But if he gets the luckiest of all spins, and he does! Gets one dunk and looking for FNG2 with the extra movement speed. Dunk 2 is going to be Fog, but he'll be able to secure this one as well. Decapitate him, come on, just drop it. Kill him! Ah! Fog!
Punch him.
Please!
Got fogged like 3 times.
Is going to get called and now dunked. Okay, there we go. Jonas Fan secures it, although heavily delayed.
He just was playing with his food first. That was all intentional. That was all according to plan. Now 6-0 in favor of Lions. 4 of those kills going towards the Axe and an 8-minute Blink Dagger. It's as if he wasn't touched at all in this early game, and that's going to be another huge win for the Lions side. 8 Mother collecting big off of those assists. He has 4 of them. And wow, for Virtus.Pro Polar, the man-on situation on the Death Prophet unfortunately was just not there. She would have had the kill if she was a little bit faster or if she had mana, and unfortunately she didn't have either. 8 Mother gets to live at double digits of HP, plus they turn things around with apparently Jonas Fan manipulating RNG. He has his Blink Dagger and he's going to join Seal Kid for a little bit of a roam towards bottom lane. And a level 2 call with the spins. They need a sizable creep wave here if they're going to kill the Slark, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah, it definitely is. We'll just have to see. Right now, the Slark is the only hero on Virtus.Pro Polar. It's having a good time. Since he hasn't been touched hardly at all, and he is sitting on that mind so as the game progresses, Virtus.Pro Polar are going to get more items and have the potential to fight, but right now, it's Lions to control the pace. This is the game where they have all of the initiation tools you could want, between the Zip from the Storm as well as Jonas Sunfan's Blink. There's just nothing that compares to that on Virtus.Pro Polar, even if they had the Blink on the puck, which is still miles away. They find the jump onto DK Phobos, not enough damage immediately, but now, he's low enough to where they could duck. The silence is going to stop it, drops a quill, slow jaunt into a dunk. Yeah, that silence just didn't last long enough. Mega kill streak for Jonas Sunfan.
So the point of the puck actually being there, and oh, hold on, because there's more fighting that's going to happen. Illidan going to look to cut off Seal Kid. He will dodge the pounce, but now compromise position. But Jonas Van gets another call, plus Ira coming in will blow up the Slark. Now going on to Lil and the Courier at the exact same time. They're probably not going to get the Courier, but they're sure as hell going to get that Visage. And now Ira with the Haste Rune actually is going to chase after FNG. He's going to get the short pull and the glimpse back right into the clutches of an Act with a call waiting. FNG is going to get blended. Static Storm for good measure. Jonas Van wants more. He wants to go for Mag. I don't think they have enough gas for that. It is one kill. Who actually died there? It was Seal Kid to die in the midst of all that. What a feeder. But 10-1 for Lions, and wow, good fight upon good fight upon good fight. Ira joining the fight this time and just showing his impact there. But as I was saying, the point of the puck being there was to get him safe lane farm, was to make sure that he wasn't going to die so that he gets his Blink Dagger. Clearly that failed.
Definitely. Lions now running with an incredibly scary axe. We've already seen the power of the axe versus the Visage as well. That was your first set of familiars pop by Lil, and they're immediately shredded and are crucial in getting that kill on the Slark too. Those units attack incredibly fast and gave him 2 to 3 spins, which at this point does a whole truckload of damage. Right now Slark is sitting on 4 armor, which is decent, but not when you're dealing with a maxed out counter helix.
205 a pop with what, point something cooldown, 0.3 second cooldown. That does a lot of damage if you are caught with familiars and a whole bunch of creeps as well. So Jonas Van is off to said roaring start that I mentioned before, 7-0-2, and the rest of his team isn't really falling behind either. Slark is doing still pretty well for Virtus.Pro Polar, but definitely not well enough. They need this Death Prophet and or the puck to just carry so much more weight, but what can they really do? Death Prophet, even if she was there, unless she had Exorcism up from the very, very beginning of that fight, which is never going to happen, she wouldn't have done anything.
And now it might get even worse. She's playing on the defensive side of the map, so that might be enough to save her, but not from a blinking axe. Right now, Mag is completely screwed. There's your blink call. Zip forward by the Ira, and now they'll pull him back. Do they even need it? Decapitation. That's Jonas Sunfan securing himself a monster kill streak. 8-0-2.
Man, you can't really do anything about that except for have vision and hope for the best. And at a certain point, the vision just isn't going to cut it. The vision is already pretty good for Virtus.Pro Polar. Yeah, they have observers where they really want to have observers, but smoke is going to bypass that, and apparently every single smoke that they use is going to result into a kill. So best 100 gold they could possibly spend. Plus they get a tower, and they will be pretty happy about that one as well, making a very aggressive line drawn towards the mid lane. They see FNG, and with Ira packing almost a full mana pool, if this Ogre sticks around, he will just die. They have to be so careful right now. Virtus.Pro Polar need so many more wards, but that's not possible to place even more wards. At least, I don't think so. No, they're out of stock.
Yeah, and their wards are in pretty good places, to be fair. Illidan does have an Invis rune, but going into Ira just isn't possible. He'll zip out unless they get a silence from DP, but that's not even skilled up, so that's not in the cards. Right now, it's Lions' turn to go for the aggressive move. Axe dropping low, and it's actually going to be the Storm to lose his life. Actually missed that. Silence on the Mag, but Paralyzing Cast bouncing back and forth from him and FNG, going to get a long amount of chain stun. Glimpse back on the Lil's going to send him to the bottom lane. The return with the Dream Coil onto 2 TP from 8 Mother is going to be denied by a Fire Blast, and Lions take a really crappy fight. That's going to be the end of Viper's life, and a double kill for Illidan. After all is said and done, I want to see the gold swing. Death Prophet even survives on double-digit HP.
At a certain point, you're powerful, but you're not invulnerable. And Axe is one of those heroes that sometimes gets into a situation where he feels like he's on top of the world, he could do anything, and then he just goes into a suicidal position and then kind of drags the team along with them. Diving a tier 1 tower is fine if you're able to find and secure one target we could have perfect vision over them. They didn't, so that ended up in a pretty good fight for Virtus.Pro Polar. It's a little bit of overconfidence for Lions. It's not the end of the world. They're still in a very nice position right now, but they just have to make sure to not make plays like that. Now they should know about where the line is.
For sure. After that, that's a ridiculous graph, however. Only 2,500 in the favor in gold, and experience is completely zeroed out after that fight. That's absolutely insane. After such a crushing early game, you don't expect that. This is even with the slightly nerfed bounties. If this were the first patch of 6.82, could have been ridiculous. Either way, they are going to look again with the smoke and setting their sights potentially onto the Slark. Illidan Stormrage is a really high priority target if they're able to connect with him, but he's not farming any of these camps over here, so he'll probably just transition the smoke into a tier 1 tower push down bot.
And that's perfectly reasonable as well. Wherever they go, they're most likely going to have an edge, and it looks like they will turn around and go for the mid lane. Observer ward coverage, not going to spot them out just yet. However, if they cross this line, then they will be spotted. Everyone from Virtus.Pro Polar, they're playing in such a way that would indicate that they have complete map vision. They're all going up towards the top lane, the lane where, yeah, I guess so far it has been the safest. But if they make one wrong move, and it looks like Lil will make said wrong move, then they're going to die. There's the call with the Blade Mail up. Lil, not many spins, actually gets one with only one target attacking him. That's kind of BS if I'm the Visage. I'll be pretty upset about that, but it will be his death anyway. It will be Act to take that one, giving him a godlike streak. And with one hero down, they also get the Familiars. Oh man, Jonas Fan finding extra gold. That's actually really bad for Virtus.Pro Polar. They have a resummon, but still, that's 200 gold. That's another tower destroyed for Lions.
Yeah, another tower destruction, another kill, and honestly, that's probably more impactful than Visage himself dying. That's time when the Familiars aren't able to accomplish anything, and honestly, these Familiars are going to have a bad time throughout the entire game. Up towards top, chasing Illidan around through the woods. He's going to be able to get his ultimate, has a pounce cooling down. Should be fine, unless they connect with the pull. A very long-range pull is going to be purged up by Illidan, but is it purged fast enough? He'll be glimpsed back into a static storm and to an axe. He's going to get dunked down beyond godlike for Jonas Sunfan.
My god, you can't escape even as a Slark. Slark is characteristically like one of the most mobile heroes, but not when you have the Disruptor and Storm Spirit to worry about. Those two, as far as keeping vision of their target and then actually pulling the trigger, it's impossible to escape from. And Slark needs a BKB if he's going to actually escape from that. But I think he wants to go for a Blink Dagger first, and then he wants to go for something like an Eye of Scotty. BKB, if it's ever going to be in Slark's build, is going to be very late, and he needs it like right now. So Lions still with firm control of this game, even though the last fight, VP Polar, it drew up the experience graph. The fact of the matter still stands. Lions have so much power right now with their draft, and they have better initiation. So that is pulling them through, and it looks like they'll capitalize on that a little bit more by trying to go for this mid lane tower. It's pretty weak already, so I don't think they have to commit too much, but they will find Illidan, or will they? I think they spotted him? Maybe not.
He did slow down. They caught a glimpse of him, but not a very long one. Invis Rune on Era. I think they know that Illidan was spotted out. He'll pounce away, but right now it's pretty vulnerable. In the meantime, they go on a Handskin. Soul Assumption flies through, isn't going to kill him off immediately. Dream Cool onto 2, but no follow-up. Illidan pouncing low ground, pursuing out Handskin with the ultimate. He is probably going to be able to get this kill, although the kinetic field might make it very scary for him. He is going to be able to get that one. Now purging it off with the Death Ward channeling. It's not enough damage, canceled by the Yule Scepter of the Death Prophet, and for now, it's just a support pickoff going the way of Virtus.Pro Polar. Familiar Stomp lands in the Viper, but that's about it. The Axe and Storm Spirit didn't jump in, but that's going to change now as he catches two heroes and a creep blade. Is going to blender down the Death Prophet, now into Lil. They'll drop a Soul Assumption in the air, now Pounce Down is going to zip over to the sidelines, bottling up through negative Earn Charge, going to zip down to the low ground. It looks like he's going to survive. They try to get the dunk onto Illidan Stormrage, doesn't happen, but they still spin him down. They get a tier 1 tower to boot. After all is said and done, it still favors Lions.
So I'm not really sure what happened there with the Axe for the first part of the fight. He called on the high ground, but he didn't blink, so something stray must have hit him and canceled that, which meant that Lions kind of got botched initiation, but reinitiating the way they did, that's the way you're supposed to do it. A call onto 2 plus a creep wave with Era, Ball Lightning, using Ball Lightning from a very far distance to get that extra damage, also limping away with his life, now picking up the Orchid with no gold to spare, so Lions take yet another massive fight, and now they're just getting more and more of a lead, not only in just golden experience, but also in map control. It's pretty much the mirrored situation as we saw in last game, where this time the Dire have all their towers, or most of their towers up, but VP Polar, they're just bleeding structures, they're bleeding map control. Their ward coverage, it was previously really good, now is non-existent.
Yeah, they have a couple of wards out, which are nice for them, but those wards actually aren't going to accomplish much of anything. Haste rune on Ape Mother is going to be purged up by the Eul's Scepter. He turns for a Viper Strike onto Mag, but a double multicast might be the end of Ape Mother's life, but Mag's still dropping low. Ape Mother just needs one more attack and might be able to kill the Death Prophet, and indeed will, before he himself goes down. When you're ganked by 3 heroes, you're probably not supposed to get that kill, and probably not before you fall, but that's going to favor Lions, especially since they kill off the puck in the meantime. That's Arrow showing off his shiny new Orchid.
And at this point, he could do that to Puck. I'm pretty sure he could also do that to the Slark, although it will need a little bit more help, a little bit more ball landing, a little bit more finesse. Still getting a solo kill, and the Viper collecting the experience and gold from that one before going down. No matter how you slice it, VP are not going to be happy about those series of events. I guess fortunately for them, the supports on Lions aren't getting too much, but the Witch Doctor is well on his way to a Hand of Midas. That's pretty darn dangerous because that guarantees the Aghanim Scepter. And while the supports from VP Polar this game, Lil's Visage is paling in comparison to the last game where he was on top of his team. Now he's barely scraping away with a Medallion of Courage. If he had close to an Aghanims, then VP Polar would still be pretty comfortable right now, but simply that's not the case.
Right now, Axe, speaking of Aghanim Scepters, has his completed. That dunk is so scary at this point. Only level 2, unfortunately enough, but that's still 450 kill threshold. These health pools on Virtus.pro Polar aren't that impressive, especially if you look at the Death Prophet in the puck.
So for most of these heroes, it's like half HP and you're just dead, and it's going to have a 0 cooldown, so Necrophos, eat your heart out. Axe can do it a little bit better, assuming, you know, he has a 12-0-3 start. That helps out, of course. But VP Polar, they're going to camp out the top lane, look for someone up there. They see the Viper, but they know what happened last time they tried to kill a Viper. And it looks like this is going to be blown by a couple of random Storm Spirit illusions. It's going to spot out 4 heroes of VP Polar in the Lions jungle. So now Lions have an opportunity to get initiation on their own terms. Although VP Polar are going to fall back, it's still just time wasted. That was 4 heroes doing literally nothing. And when you're this far behind, you can't afford to be doing that.
No. Sometimes Illusion Runes are a really bad one to have, mostly just filling up your bottle, and sometimes it's the best rune in the world. If you're able to get that much intelligence from it, it's pretty darn crazy. I'm not sure they really would have been caught out even if they didn't have that Illusion Rune, but it makes it beyond a shadow of a doubt that they don't accomplish anything. Illidan Stormrage is flirting with the Axe, but honestly, why is Illidan here? He's going to get blunt called. No creeps are actually attacking the Axe right now, and he might not get enough spins, but with a dunk, that's going to be the end of Illidan's life. Still ticking down, even with the ultimate regen. The Viper Strike is just too much. Pounce over the sidelines, barely makes it down to the low ground. Will they have enough damage? They have a blink cooling down, finds him, but overshoots it a little bit. Illidan running towards the left, and it looks like the Slark's going to be able to make himself scarce. But still, that was the Slark trying for a kill onto the Viper. That's a really bad omen for the future.
That should have been a kill for Lions for a couple of reasons. The Viper was like sitting over here just like shuffling back and forth instead of just cutting off the escape of the Slark. Also, the Axe clearly overshot the Slark. Also, the Axe could have decapitated the Slark if he was paying a little bit of closer attention to the health pool. He's going to go in for round 2, and this time Illidan's sitting in a massive creep wave. They are not going to let the Slark get away for a second time. They will get the kill that they are owed. In the meantime, bottom lane, they're going to jump forward for Lil. Ira is going to hit with the multicast, but he doesn't really care about that. He's more than happy to turn around and fight FNG, and he will do just that. In fact, he will solo kill off the Ogre Magi. Familiars coming in, which will force Ira out. In the meantime, Handskin running away was going to be the casualty. Lions losing only a support right now. They will also take a tier 2 tower off of this one. Trading all of that for a Disruptor, man, so freaking worth it, and that's just so much more momentum and golden experience for the entire team, not to mention the map control.
That's your Midas now completed onto Steel Kid, and Lions just walking all over VP.P. They're pushing high ground at this point. It's just a Death Prophet in the pocket, and they're not anywhere close. A couple of Crypt Storms will mop up this creep wave. Tier 3 tower already taking significant damage that Lions didn't have to work for.
And that is pretty darn scary that they could do that to the high ground towers. You'd expect that to happen to a random tier 2, but said random tier 2 is already dead. So wherever this Axe goes, VP Polar have to worry a lot about this. Their map control now is just completely gone off the map. They need some observer wards up, or they need to take a good team fight. It looks like they're going to stumble upon Seal Kid. I mean, it's a hero to pick off. It's nice and everything, but this is probably the most useless hero to kill. They killed him off in a hurry, so that's poor Witch Doctor right there, but they need better kills.
I mean, if you look at the experience swing, that's where it really starts to shine because Lions are so ahead. That's 364 experience for everybody that was involved, and that's 4 heroes. So I'm not going to say that's worthless, but it isn't enough to get them back in this game. Call from the Axe, going to be man fighting up against Illidan. This might be a fight that Axe might actually lose. I'm lagging out for some reason. Joe Sunfan being bursted down. The Slark's going to end that Beyond Godlike spree. Not exactly sure what's happening, but the stream's still live. Are you getting those little jitters?
No, that's on your end.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Well,
it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It'll all fix itself. But in the meantime, Ira's going to run to Illidan. This time, Illidan unable to connect with any sort of skills. Hanskin also in the area. Prepped for the Static Storm. They're going to start with silencing the Slark and then double silencing him. Can't cast any spells. There's a coil onto 2, which might bail Illidan out, but no, it won't. Just falling short. Now Ira hit with the Fire Blast. He's going to try to ball landing up to the high ground. If he can just get unsilenced, he will make it out right onto DK Phobos. 8 Mother in the middle of everything in the meantime is not taking any damage, however. Ira is still ignited and he will burn, killed off by the Ogre Magi. Lil now going to try TP away from 8 Mother Hanskin. No glimpse available, and they will all get out alive, Virtus Pro Polar, with the exception of the Slark, who got dropped first. That was a pretty nice team fight for Virtus Pro Polar. They are definitely far behind in this game, but they're far from out of it.
Especially since they picked up that Beyond Godlike from the Axe. That's not going to be reflected in the fight recap. Slark definitely getting more than negative 419 gold in that last fight. Virtus Pro, if they could take a couple more fights like that, they're well on their way back into this game. The Scotty's almost completed up on this Slark. Death Prophet's going to be working towards the BKB. In fact, has that completed. And Lions definitely need to tighten things up a little bit. It was looking really good for them, and it still is, don't get me wrong, but they need to make sure that they don't take fights like that again.
I think this, or that fight, and this series in general, is just all about the initiation. Whoever makes that first jump, whoever does that is going to win. That's pretty much the story for every single fight that we've had in here game 2 and also in game number 1. So Lions losing the Axe to start things off, yet still kind of thinking about going for a fight and defending their tier 1. That's not how you want to be doing things. They're going to start a fight over down towards bottom, where FNG is completely without hope versus Ira. Good luck casting anything on the Storm Spirit when he's ball lightninging that much. Is it really ball lightning-ing? There has to be a better way to say that, but either way, FNG down. Mag gonna close in with a silence in tow. Also has the Slark nearby. Ira has to be very careful. Hanskin, though, is going to be the casualty. He will spot out Illidan, and they know that the Slark is there, but they don't know that the Death Prophet is here as well. But VP Polar, they don't know that everyone is here from Lions. Cask is going to be thrown, which will connect onto VP Polar, and now the jump forward, glimpse back as well. He's Shadow Dance, but he will get called, so he can't really go anywhere anyway. Ira is taking so much damage, will be going down. In the meantime, Mag's ultimate going to town on everybody with the double Familiar Suns connecting onto all 4 heroes. Jonas Fan can't quite close in for enough, but he will get the dunk onto 1. Now moving forward for another, has another blink call. He will blink over the orb, catch Lil with that call, and now 8 Mother slow means that Lil is guaranteed to fall with another decapitation. It's going to mean a double kill for Jonas and Fan. Still not the cleanest fight for Lions, but they do take that one as a win, I believe. Is it really just a 2 for 2 though? I feel like more people died there. Oh, there it is. It's going to be Illidan. Make it at the very least a 3 for 2. Needs a pounce out into the trees. That's not the right direction, but it might actually lead to his escape anyway. Couple more hits, dropping down to 2 HP. Blink call, now he's dead. No time for a Culling Blade because the counter helixes do it, and Lions take yet another massive team fight.
Yeah, that one started out pretty poorly for Lions, I must say. Death Prophet and her ultimate doing a lot of work, but at that point, Seal Kid, he was able to get off his ultimate without it being cancelled, and even with the BKB on DP, doesn't stop the damage coming out from Axe as well as from the Witch Doctor. That Death Prophet, after killing 2, ends up dropping so very quickly. It's actually going to be Yule's Scepter on the Visage. I can't say I agree with this on Lil, but then again, with the Axe spinning around and killing his familiars immediately, maybe it is a better choice. Yule Scepters galore, my goodness, everybody and their mother has one. That's Ogre, 4 Yule Scepters on Virtus Pro Polar.
And none on Lions, so maybe Virtus Pro Polar knows something that Lions don't. Yule Scepter is a fantastic tool at just delaying the Storm Spirit, especially pre-BKB. The odds of Axe getting a BKB are near 0, so if you just throw him up into the air or ignore him, it's a good answer to the call. In fact, it's a fantastic answer to the call. They're going to capitalize with those Yule Scepter and kill off Hanskin, setting those up with a Cyclone, as per expected. We'll get the kill on the Disruptor in the end, but it's only Disruptor to go down. He's very close to his Aghanim Scepter. If he gets a little bit more farm, he'll have that one, and Aghanim Scepter also is in the pipeline for the Witch Doctor. So, nice items for sure. VP Polar having defensive items in that Yule Scepter. Don't quite know if it's going to be able to resist this brute force power of Lions. If Storm Spirit gets a BKB, then Virtus Pro Polar have pretty much no answers for him.
More or less. But then again, it is 10 seconds where Jonas Sunfan isn't able to do anything. So I suppose, in that sense, during the duration of a team fight, that could just be the 10,000 gold that they invested to remove 14,000 gold that the Axes farmed up. So maybe, just maybe, it's worthwhile. We'll have to see how they're able to utilize it. It is very peculiar to see, but Dual Scepter, if you are going to purchase up massive one item, it's pretty much like a poor man's Hex, so in that sense, it's pretty nice to have. Virtus Pro do now have their Scotty up on the Slark, and he is going to start picking up some major steam when it comes to the items behind the Storm Spirit as well as the Axe, but Illidan's going to be very scary either way, especially since he has that Hand of Midas ticking. Lions, I think the pressure's on them to look for these engagements. Right now, passively farming isn't going to do it for them.
Yeah, the way Axe works, especially when he's off to this great a start, is that he gives you a lot of advantage. He buys a lot of space for the team, but he doesn't quite win it. So they need the Storm Spirit or the Viper, or hell, even the supports at this point with their Aghanimed ultimates to really capitalize and finish off the game. Because right now, they are going to have Aim Mother initiated upon Get Silence, has a mech available, no BKB, has the rest of the team though. 3-man coil is there, and Jonas Fan will land a call onto Illidan Storm Rage. However, the coil's making that retreat impossible. Seal Kid getting ground down will be dropped. 8 Mother is soon to fall as well. Nice static storm, actually that was a mediocre static storm onto Illidan. Might be getting this kill very close. No, he won't quite do it. Jonas Fan though, gonna turn things around with the help of now Ira, gonna go down on Mag. We'll get rid of all those Exorcism Spirits. Jonas Fan's still alive. They're also gonna try to go for the Visage. He's gonna land right into a static remnant that will kill him off just yet, but he will go down in the end. Now onto FNG. No pull in time for the Storm Spirit, so the Ogre's going to live, but awkward initiation from Virtus Pro Polar, yet they lose the fight, even though it was initiation on their own terms. Lions, that was just the brute force of their lineup right there. Axe seemingly unkillable with the Shiva's Guard.
For sure. Even though that static storm wasn't the greatest, with the level 2 Maledict, it was actually enough to kill off the Slark, even though he pounced away. So, I don't know, Lions, they find an opening where it seemed that they wouldn't be able to. This fight looks eerily familiar to the one we saw inside the Radiant Jungle, where Exorcism shreds through 2 heroes. But then Axe joins the fray, and then things completely turn on their head once they kill off that Death Prophet, which is incredibly easy for them to do, I might add.
Yeah, she has Plate Mail and BKB to survive. Dual Scepter was used to set up, so that wasn't available. They'll set up once again onto the Disruptor. Handskin apparently didn't get the memo that this is a time to retreat. He will be brought down, but he's not going to lose any gold. Already has his Aghanim Scepters waiting. His Aghanim Scepter waiting for him in his stash once he does revive. So Lions take a pretty nice team fight. Unfortunately, they don't really take objectives after that. This might be slowly concerning for Lions, because they're slowly starting to take worse and worse fights, and they need to think about ending the game within like 10-15 minutes. And right now, with still one tier 2 tower alive for Virtus Pro Polar, it should be quite a long time before this game actually ends. So Lions, they need to take a set of axes or, you know, multiple decisive team fights that are much better than the last ones if they want to feel really comfortable in this game.
For sure. There's still an advantage, but if this game does drag on for another 15 minutes, that's going to be Slark picking up his next major item, maybe even 2. If Illidan's able to get a couple kills here and there, and the leaps in power, although huge for Alliance right now, like the Aghanim Scepter and the Disruptor, as well as eventually an Aghanim Scepter on the Witch Doctor, which is about halfway there, aren't going to be paralleled by anything in the future. Right now, Lions are approaching the point where they're almost at their strongest. Dual Scepters galore, going to throw everybody up in the air. But now with the call onto Mag, the Visage Remover is jumping through. They do get the double stomp, but Death Prophet's already way too low. She'll delay things with the Dual Scepter, but decapitated is going to be the end of her life with that level 16 ultimate axe, completely shredding her. He finds himself one familiar with the counter helixes, and that's going to be the end of his life. His Storm Spirit zips up to the high ground. Illidan Storm Rage is able to purge off that silence with the Dark Pact, and now looking to turn. Ira stunned up, very low on mana, needs some backup, but that backup is coming out from the Viper. Glimpse back, Illidan Storm Rage now in the kinetic field, in a whole heap of trouble. Doesn't have his ultimate or anything else to drop, and he is going to end up falling. His axe going to pursue Lil on the backlines, dunk one, and now looking for another kill. That's also a gem loss by VP.P. That's a convincing teamfight win that Lions were desperately needing.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I said they have to take Raxes or just a massive series of team fights, that is the type of team fight I was talking about. They take 3 kills for nothing. They don't lose anything. They get two familiars on top of that as well, so a lot more extra gold going the way of Lions. I believe Axe actually took them both out, so he got a whole boatload of gold from that one. That is the type of fight that Lions really need, and because of the devastating nature of that fight, they will capitalize and take a tier 2 tower following. Probably going to fall back after this, maybe think about going for Roshan, but no matter what they do right now, that team fight just put them into even more of a commanding position than they already were. Now the golden experience is firmly above 10,000 in their favor, and Lions, they're going to have to either stall out this game for a very long time or massively screw up if they want to lose this.
Definitely, and I think if they just keep up this aggression and look to push high ground, maybe after taking the Roshan that you mentioned earlier, they'll be on a pretty smooth course. Waiting for Seal Kid's Aghanim Scepter definitely is a valid item to wait for on this Witch Doctor. 600 gold, however, he's very close to it. In fact, I'd love to see 8 Mother pass these CS over to the Witch Doctor, and it looks like they are.
All right, so Cooperation going to get the Witch Doctor that much closer to his Aghanims. Once he has that, then whoever's caught in that call is... Well, first of all, you're going to have to be bailed out by a Yule Scepter, which was going to happen anyway, but you need 2 Yule Scepters. One to throw the axe in the air, one to throw the Witch Doctor in the air. And with one to presumably initiate, you're kind of running low on Yule Scepters. So VP Polar, they need a couple more, but they're going to go for the top lane. In the meantime, Lions, they're going to go for Roshan. This is looking like it's going to be the classic tier 2 top lane for Roshan trade, but Lions are doing this fast enough that they can fall back and defend, and VP Polar are actually going to fall back. So now with a double life, I presume to be on Ira, he's going to be able to jump in and have not a care in the world. He's also very close to his BKB. That's an item worth waiting for on Storm Spirit if Lions are thinking about going for a high ground push.
It is, and with this Aegis, he can also farm very aggressively. I think the plan is just wait for the Black King bar. It's only a couple hundred gold away from Ira. Wait for the Witch Doctor Ags, which is flying out any minute now on the Courier, and then just ball up and look for the push. In the meantime, they can force out these lanes a little bit. Top is a little bit too close to the tier 2 tower for comfort. It's actually a Maelstrom Axe. Not something that I've personally seen, but it's really nice once you have that Mjolnir on top of it to where you drop that on yourself with a counter helix spinning as well as the call making sure everybody's attacking. You get a lot of lightning out from that. Even though it's probably not for the right clicks, it's kind of nice, I suppose.
Yeah, if you are calling someone, you'll be able to right-click them all the while, like we're going to see right now. Look at the sick deeps from Axe as Mag just is going to get eviscerated. Maelstrom MVP, it obviously didn't make a difference there, but they do get the pick off in the Death Prophet regardless. That's a minute where this hero is down for the count with no buyback, and with her mid lane being pushed very aggressively. VP Polar, they need a miracle right now, and I suppose it is close enough to the holidays that maybe they could wish upon a star and make something happen, but I don't really know if that's how miracles work, because their Raxes are pretty much forfeit.
More or less, right now, Puck's still pushing top. They just can't fight into this team coming out from Lions here with the Aegis. Jonas Sunfan just being ungodly tanky. There's your BKB completed up on the Storm Spirit, and they have all the tools that they want to fight. Virtus Pro Polar need to do something fast. We're also just going to forfeit this Rax, and maybe even more than this. This first barracks push is just so easy for them, since Virtus Pro Polar aren't interested at all in defending. They'll get a tier 2 tower up top for their troubles. That's not enough, however. That's a full Raxing in mid.
And VP Polar, they have 10 seconds now when the Death Prophet is going to be up. By that time, Lions are going to be long gone, and maybe Death Prophet is going to keep her buyback intact for the next time she goes down, but if that happens again, then say goodbye to any sort of dream of Death Prophet getting a heart or a Shiva's Guard or whatever she wants to go for with her inventory right now. It's Lions taking that decisive lead. Between the team fights that have been constantly going their way, now they finally get something concrete out of it, aside from just a golden experience lead, which is, it's good. I'm not going to say it's not, but this is something that can actually help them directly win the game. And they still have the Aegis and the Storm Spirit, so it's not even like they have to fall back. It's not even like they put themselves in that much risk by doing that.
Yeah, they're going to presumably for another lane strip. They have a regeneration rune on the Storm. The Storm Spirit could not be happier. Ira, Aegis, regen, fresh BKB, Bloodstone with the leveling charges, and Orchid doesn't really get much better for him. The Disruptor has been counter-pushing up towards top a tad, and is going to be saving up quite a bit of gold. I presume a Blink Dagger is in store for Handskin, but honestly not sure how much that matters. I think for Lions, it's just rinse and repeat. You still have plenty of time left on that Aegis, about 2 minutes. Exactly 2 minutes.
I don't think it's going to be enough time to take a second set of Raxing, which is kind of unfortunate for Lions, but you can't really expect that much out of just one Aegis. So they're going to use this first Aegis, get themselves quite a bit of map control, get themselves a set of Raxes, and get themselves a couple of additional items as well. So that's perfectly fine. As far as those items, there's an Assault, or the completed Mjolnir rather, on the Axe. So not only will he do sick damage with his right clicks, but he will also be able to throw out a lot of those static charges. And against someone like a Slark, who's attacking pretty darn quickly with Bloodlust, there's going to be pain flying everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a really prickly, electric charged, spinning axe that nobody wants to get anywhere close. And Jonas Sunfan is just going to run headlong into the enemy team and beg them to do something about it. Regeneration rune is popped by Ira. He's going to be zip-zapping around, now gets a double damage rune. Runes just don't get any better for Storm.
Yeah, this is pretty much the ideal combination for this stage in the game. You have near infinite mana, you have a truckload of damage per hit, and you still have a little bit of Aegis timer left. Very little Aegis timer left, but still, it might just be in time, especially if they initiate onto Mag. Pop the BKB along with Illidan. Ira's going to get multicast to start things off. Dropping pretty low, but he gets the BKB off, and he still has that Aegis, even if he does go down. Illidan really wants to kill off Jonas Fan, but he's just not doing enough damage to that Shiva's Guard. Now the Blade Mail and Call is up. Illidan still chasing after this Axe, getting a lot of stats in the meantime, but FNG is dropping low to Ira. Yule Scepter will keep him safe for now, as Slark barely jumping out of there with his life. He will get brought down by the Witch Doctor of all heroes. Meantime, Aegis proc by the Storm Spirit. He's going to rejoin this fight where Mag and Lil are already caught in a cage. Perfect for Ira, but he's going to instead bypass them all and go for FNG. Cast bouncing through will also glimpse back Mag. He's doomed to fall. Visage is going to be the next one. No, it's FNG to fall, then the Visage. Where's the puck? He is all the way over to the right, but among all the dead, there is only one with the buyback, and Death Prophet cannot hold this just with the puck. This is going to be a second set of Raxes, and GG.
Yeah, there's not much else that they can do about this. Very well played. Lions night and day from the first game, and I think a lot of this comes down to the draft. It just seems that both of these teams rely on taking fights on their own terms and having initiation, which is never a bad thing, but it seems crucial. Both of these teams at each other's throats. We're going to go to Game 3. It's 1-1 currently in the lower bracket finals.